Hey guys, has there ever been a time where you're looking at a chart and you see a particular pattern, but by the time you enter all the information, the trade already happened and it's too late? Well, I have experienced this issue, and so what I decided to do is just build an app for it using R. So I'll show you guys how to use it, but we're going to be using interactive brokers, and as you see, this is a demo system, and you do have to change some things on the API settings. So if you go to File, you go to Global Configuration, go to API, Settings, make sure that this first box is checked and the read-only API is unchecked. Take note of the port number. For the most part, it'll be this one. If not, then you'll have to change it to 7497, and everything else should be left alone. We're going to click Apply and go to Precautions, and I'm just going to check all of these boxes. Click Apply and OK. Before we start the app, we want to make sure and take note of this particular account. So if we go to our R script here, go to the functions, you're going to set that account in here. Click on Save, go back to the main app and run it. So this will be the trading dashboard. And what this will do is it'll check the buying power for the account. So before you start clicking on anything, you need to enter a symbol. So we're just going to do Tesla. And then you can either enter the number of shares, the dollar amount that you want to trade, or just scroll here for the percentage that you want to use of your buying power. So as an example, I'm going to scroll to 10%, and it'll calculate the number of shares automatically to place a long order or a short sell order and just get out of the position entirely. And these will be for market orders. I haven't set up the limit orders, but I'll show you guys how to change that. So if we click on long trade, see, we enter the trade and we see the order here. So it looks like the order got filled for 132 shares. So if you want to close out of the position entirely, we'll just click on flat position, and you see that it entered a sell order for 132 shares. And the cool thing about the app is that you can also do options. So to do options, you're going to click on this drop down menu, click on option. So you can enter a symbol. We're going to leave that there. And here in the back end is going to check the option price. It's not in real time, as these will get pulled from Yahoo Finance, but I'll show you how to change that if you want to get real-time data. And all you have to do for the option is just select the expiration. So it'll open up this calendar. We'll go to next week. We'll trade a call. And for the strike price, we'll do 300. For the number of contracts, you can change the number of shares in here, or you can just use the scroll bar. So if you do 2, or we can use the scroll. So let's just do 5%. So this will be the number of shares or contracts in this case. And we'll click on long trade. And here we see the order. So it was the 300 call, August 8th for 66 contracts. Now the market has closed, so it probably won't fill. And if we go back to the app, we're going to try shorting something. So we'll go to stock ETF, we'll do Amazon, we'll do 40%, and we'll do short trade. It placed a short sell order. If we want to flat our position, you don't need to change anything. You just click on flat position and it'll enter the reverse. So in the back end, it's going to check any Amazon positions that are open and do all the heavy lifting for you by checking what type of order we should place and the quantity. So that's pretty much it. We can go ahead and click out of this. So this first script is for the actual app. The second one has all the functions pertaining to order placement. So for the functions, we have one to check the buying power. We have 2 functions to check the price. And again, this is coming from Yahoo Finance. I don't have any data subscriptions available on interactive brokers, so I can't get the actual real-time price. But if you're able to get the real-time price, then you would just modify these market order functions and convert them to limit orders. So we have one for the buy side, one for the short side, and then to close out of our positions. So if we take a look at the buying power, we're going to be using the interactive brokers package, and we're going to connect to the trader workstation by passing in our account, and then again just returning the buying power, which will get used in the app. Now to get the prices for stocks or options, which is going to use get quote from Quamod. Now I believe these are not in real time unless anything changed recently. So just to get a rough estimate of where the price is for our market orders, we're going to be using these functions. So again, it'll just return that last price. Now for the option, we need to enter the symbol, expiration side, and strike. We're going to build our symbol, and again, we're going to use get quote just to get a rough estimate of the number of contracts or shares we should be purchasing. Now to place an order, it's relatively simple in interactive brokers. We need to pass in the symbol, the shares, and the account it's going to. So again, we're going to connect to the trader workstation, build our security, request an order ID, build an order, and as you see here, the order type is market. I did comment out the limit price in case you want to modify these. You would just need to pass in the limit price that you want to use, change this to limit, and everything else in the order should be left the same. If you want to restrict it to regular trading hours, it should be 0, but I think it doesn't make a difference if it's in a demo account. And then transmit should be true, place the order and disconnect. Similarly, for the option, we need to pass in the symbol, the expiration, the strike, the contracts, the side, and the account. So after we establish a connection with the trader workstation, we need to build a TWS contract for the option, and we're going to retrieve the local symbol that they use for the option. To build it out, we need to pass in the expiration, the strike, the side, and the symbol. We're going to request an order ID, build our TWS order, and if you want to modify these to limit orders, you would just change the order type to limit and uncomment the limit price field, and you're going to need to pass in the limit price that you want to use. And after we place the order, we're going to go ahead and disconnect. Now, I don't recommend shorting stocks or options, but you can play around with these in the demo account. And all that really changes is the action here, which is instead of buy, it'll be sell. And the same thing goes for the options, where instead of buy, we're just going to be using sell. Now, to completely close out of our positions, one is for options, the other one is for stocks, and all we need to pass in is the underlying symbol. So for the option, we're going to establish a connection with our trader workstation. We're going to check our positions, and we want to make sure that the security type is an option and there's actual contracts in there that we want to close out. Next, as a reassurance, we want to make sure that any option orders match our underlying symbol. And if it does find that we have positions open, it'll go ahead and use the information returned from the trader workstation to fill out the order template and place the order. You don't need to enter anything, just the symbol that you're trying to close out of. It'll calculate everything else. And similarly for stocks, pass in the symbol, establish a connection with our trader workstation, look for any open positions, and if they do exist, go ahead and close it out. So those are all the functions needed to trade. Now for the actual app, we need to set our working directory. So wherever you place the app, and this other script should be the path entered in line 1, because we're going to be sourcing those functions in line 4. And here you can modify whether you want to use certain things such as a slider or a box to input the numbers, and then another sub panel for the option side if it's selected. And once you have that set, we need to place instructions. So on the server side, we're going to be using the get buying power function from our other script to return the balance. So by just returning the buying power, we can go ahead and calculate the number of contracts or shares. Now, right underneath, we're going to have our trade logic. So we should have a few. So you want to place a long order, a short sell order, or a flat or position, you would place the instructions in here. So we're going to build out the trade details, whether if it's a stock or an option. And here we do some additional checks. So if it's an option, send an option order. Otherwise, it's just going to place a stock order. To flat or positions, it's going to check if it's an option or a stock and just use those functions in the other script. And lastly, we have the short sell logic. So again, checking if it's an option or a stock or an ETF. So that's pretty much all I have for now. You can go ahead and modify it as needed, but please make sure you try it in a demo account, or else it'll submit a live order. But with that, guys, this concludes the video. I hope it was useful information. I'll leave a link down in the description area to my Patreon where you can find the script. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.